Hello, all. Welcome to Boquillo, where we talk about business, self growth, and careers. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to my baby brother, NASA. um, Today, we'll be talking about mainly about careers and talk about his journey so far. But, NASA, do you want to give a quick intro about yourself?
Yeah, I'm NASA. I'm Gaby's brother. Um, I just actually got hired or just got an offer for a job in a company in Boone here in Iowa, and I'm super excited about it.
Perfect. So, this is the happy side of the story, right? You landed a job, but I guess let's go back a little bit in time so that our audience understands what you studied in college, and I guess even what motivated you to study that in college.
Yeah. So my journey to college is a little bit unique. I actually from Texas, and I knew that I wanted to do something with machinery. I knew that I wanted to do something with building, and so in high school I did robotics. I did it all 4 years, and the more I did it, the more I fell in love with it. And I had an amazing calculus one teacher, and she's really what inspired me to do engineering because she taught me Calc 1, and she did such an amazing job that I felt confident in doing math. And up until then, I struggled really a lot with math, and so coming to college, I was excited. I went out of state to Iowa State, began my 4 years, and it was definitely a hard journey. A lot of first times, a lot of moments where I thought I was going to drop out, but it's been good. And yeah,
So I think one of the questions that comes to mind is so you mentioned math. I do remember growing up, for me, math came really easy, but for you, it was the total opposite. So for those people that say, like, hey, I can't do this career because I suck at this subject, what will you say to them?
oh, that's a great question. I would say, first of all, like all 4 years, I was probably at the bottom of my class when it came to math, like all the math classes. And unfortunately, every single class has math, so it was definitely a struggle. But I'd say, honestly, hard work pays off at the end. Like if there's a will, there's a way. And yeah, I mean, you might not be top of your class, but you can definitely, as it's seen in my own personal life, you can definitely still get a career even if you're not at the top of top, and yeah, just honestly following your dreams is probably one of the best things you can do because there's a certain amount of pride that you can have in that and knowing that even though it wasn't easy, you still made it.
Yeah, and as I feel from my personal experience as well, is that as long as you do something that you enjoy, that's all that matters. Is better than doing something that you don't like all 4 years and just be miserable during that time. But tell me a little bit more. So you graduated, and then did you directly start working full time for engineering company, or what was your path?
No, actually, I am actually just wrapping up a Bible school program. It was a 1 year program with an optional second and third year, but this is where the road ends for me as of right now. And that in itself is just an interesting story. So my right before my senior year, I had an internship at this company, and it was great. I liked it and everything, and my faith is really important to me. So at one point, I just felt like the Lord was telling me that I had to pursue a year of Bible school, and it was in the cards for me. But I just thought it was gonna be a different time. I originally had planned to do 5 years of engineering and then pursue a degree in theology, and then eventually move on to do
5 years
ministry.
of working.
Yeah, that's right. 5 years of working, and that plan got wrecked, and it was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make because right off the bat, coming from college, I had some debt, not a lot because I had a lot of scholarships, but I still had some debt, and there was a lot of dreams that I still wanted to do, and I was like, oh, if I take this year off, it's gonna throw everything off. But yeah,
Yeah, I would say that because we have a strong Christian faith, like the Lord will, prepare a way if you listen to, what He wants you to do. And I don't think I've ever asked you this, like on our calls that we have, but were you ever scared that once you finish this program, that is going to be very difficult for you to find a job, or you just didn't worry about that?
Well, that's a good question. Um, I think maybe in a sense, yeah. I honestly, these past few months, I would say that I was even doubting if I was ever going to work as a full-time engineer because yeah, just these past few months being immersed in ministry and be able to walk alongside a lot of my mentors, like my associate pastor Tony, and walking alongside other ministers, I really find that to be my passion. And so I was like, maybe I will just be one of those people that doesn't use the degrees and does full-time ministry. And so that for me was actually really scary. I was like, wow, like I remember sitting down with my mentor Tony, and I was in the couch and I'm telling him like, yeah, bro, I don't know, man. Like I pursued this degree for 4 years. I did so much work. I spent so many endless nights, and here I am, and I have this decision to make of whether or not I'm gonna like pursue my degree because if I know that whenever I do ministry full time, I'm not going back to engineering. So it was definitely a tough moment, but I felt peace about pursuing the job, and God's good because literally in less than a month of me applying to jobs, I got an offer, and that's kind of unheard of.
With
So
how many with how many companies did you interview before getting an offer?
I interviewed with CEO companies before getting this offer.
So you just interviewed with this company, right? It was literally one interview process, right? And then that's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I went in and met with the HR lady in the facility, and then I met with the team leader, and then I met with the manufacturing director. And so it was a 3-in-1 interview. And then the next time they called me, they were like, "Hey, we want you to come in again," and it was for an offer letter.
Wow. Uh, how do you feel about, just I think for in my experience, I think it's so easy, like how that happened. I was honestly a bit surprised because I thought that it was gonna take a little bit more, just being realistic. But thinking back, what do you think, like, what made you be successful to, go through all this process and then nail the interview and get an offer?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I would say it was definitely on my mind, like just the idea of applying to jobs. I was since January, probably when I was on my second semester of GS school, people were already asking me like, "Oh, so what do you do next? Like, are you gonna do a second year of GS school? Are you gonna pursue a job? Like, are you gonna move to Texas? Are you moving somewhere else?" So there was a lot of questions, and for the first time in my life, I was like, I actually don't know. So that was kind of intimidating. But to get to your question, I would say it was definitely a lot of just looking at different interview questions and just practicing over and over again what my answer would be, fine tuning it, and then getting to that spot where basically I didn't have to think about what I was saying. And so
Mm.
that helps whenever you're in the spot because the reality of things is that when you're in an interview, your brain kind of shuts down. You're kind of just talking from, just what you normally speak. So that, and then I've had interviews for my internship. I had like 3 different interviews. And so that I had some experience in what that looked like. And one of the biggest things that I think people forget is the interviewer is also human. And so not only are they trying to see if you're a good fit for the company on paper, but they're trying to see, are you a person who can communicate, talk with someone else, and just be a normal human being?
Yeah, and I think if the people that are interviewing you also give you that space to feel comfortable and see that, realize more easily that, yes, I'm also a human, the
Mhm.
interview process is much faster because I remember you saying, yeah, like by the end of the interview, I was very comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I mean, just asking good questions and then being able to relate with them, I would say is really important. And then I will say the company itself, they're very much approachable. You know, like I felt like I could talk to them and be open and communicate with them, and they were also flexible with what it looks like scheduling wise, what it looks like my starting date. So those things were settled out pretty quickly.
Perfect. No, I'm so happy for you as your sister.
Yeah.
That we don't have to worry about that because it can be stressful. I've had friends that taking 3 months, 6 months, or even a year to land a job. So I'm happy that your story is a little bit different. Um, so I guess for people that are in the process of trying to get a job, do you have one advice, recommendations for them before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is a lot of people say mass apply, like just apply, 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 which is good. It's important. But for me, my strategy was I'm gonna go look and go look for the niche companies, go look for the small companies, and that's actually what helped me with my internship and also with my job right now. It was companies that are kind of overlooked because they're smaller, they're not exactly glamorous, but I found that usually those companies are the best ones because they need to stand out. They will be more flexible. They will give you maybe a higher paying incentive, and it's easier to land an interview with them. And yeah, oftentimes those companies are, especially when you're beginning, the best companies to apply because once you have experience and everything in the field, you can go for the bigger jobs and you know your way around, so you can't be bullied around when you enter a big corporation.
Wow, no, that's a perfect answer. No, thank you so much for sharing all of this with my audience and hope this helps all of you if you're navigating a career change. And lastly, if anyone here that is listening or is viewing this podcast on YouTube, if they want to connect with you, where could they do that?
Um, Probably my Instagram. I would give you my Instagram, but I don't know my username.
Typical of
But
you.
yep, I'm also on Medium. If you look up NASA, I'll probably show up on Medium. You look up NASA on Instagram, you'll probably find me. I'm pretty easy to find. Just look for the cute guy on Instagram. So yeah.
No para de ser coqueto. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time and thank you so much to the audience and see y'all in our next episode. Bye bye.